This is the world premiere. St. Philip's, let's find out how we became who we are. This is the Legacy of Grace, Journey of St. Philip's Evangelical Lutheran Church mini movie. Trigger warning, trigger warning. How did you become a member of St. Philip's?
So it had to be in the early 40s. Pastor Paulus was the pastor, and he was standing out in front asking people to come to the service. And my mother at 12 was asking him what kind of service, and he told her it was only going to be an hour. So I came to St. Philip in the early 50s because of two church members who were already here, Della and Marvin Russell. Marvin was working with my husband, and we had just come to Detroit, and we did not have a church home. And so Marvin, was telling my husband, well, if you want to come to our church, you can, and you'll be welcome and all of that. And so we did. And we visited a few times, and then we joined the class, and then we became members. And as people can say, the rest is history. I've been here ever since and been involved ever since.
My mother moved to Detroit in 1948, I believe. She and my stepfather were from St. Thomas, and we belonged to Frederick Lutheran Church in St. Thomas. And when she came to Detroit, she couldn't find a Lutheran church that was willing to accept blacks. And so she joined, as a matter of fact, she joined, the African Methodists. We were living on Brevard, and she happened to be riding the East Granville Boulevard bus. There was a sign that said Lutheran Church. And so she got off the bus, stopped, and she came in and asked them about it, and they told her and took her name and address and told her that when they, when they were completed, they would let her know. So after it was completed, I believe it was in 1953, and they called her and let her know. We came down, transferred our membership from Fredericks to St. Philip.
It had to be in the early 50s because I was a child. And when we relocated here to Detroit, I was confirmed here by Pastor Phillip.
When I got out of the Army, that's when I moved. I think that's when I moved my denomination. I first came to St. Philip in 1948, but I didn't join, and there was a span between the time of my change in my denomination. I came here from Alabama, and I was born a Lutheran, so I didn't have to join. I just had to move my transfer.
Well, it started with my great-grandmother. Her name was Mary Pearl Benson, and then followed by my grandmother, Mary Elizabeth Glass. Now, the date that they started was just around the date that the King Church opened up. It was a church. It was very small, but it was a church. Okay. And as I drive by and look at it now, it looks like a little dollhouse. It's so small. I was involved in the choir with Mrs. Marshall, and Kay Dumas was part of that choir. Kim Peoples was part of the choir. Several of the people who are adults right now were part of that choir. I was involved in a group called the Walther League. And with the Walther League, there were many of the youngsters who were part of the Walther League, and several of the adults sponsored the Walther League. The ones I remember really well are Ollie Tucker and Fred Tucker, but there were also several families that sponsored us. And we would go around to different churches, singing and meeting other people, people who are now adults with me, it's still in some of the Lutheran churches.
What happened, my mother was a Lutheran when she was a little girl in North Carolina, in Concord, North Carolina. And she went to a Lutheran school. They had a Lutheran school. And there is a picture of, I have a picture of that, not with me, but I have a picture of that. It was called Grace Lutheran School. And the picture is dated 1897. And, but when she came to Detroit, when she married my father back in, back at the turn of the century, I think she married him about 1905, somewhere around in there. She became AME Zion. And most of the black people at that time were either Methodist, Baptist, or Zionists, or AME, what they called. And very few were Lutheran or Catholics at that particular time when, you know, back in 1897. So when she came to Detroit in 1917, she joined his church, which was St. Paul AME Zion, and it's still located here in Detroit on Dexter Avenue. And so in 1934, St. Philip's was established in a storefront. And we weren't members then, but we happened to live on Alger, which is the next street over from King Street. The church was, you can show that picture of the old church on King Street. Well, we lived right behind there. In fact, we could cut through the alley to come to St. Philip's. So as far as I know, I came to the church in 1938. I was 4 years old.
The Weeks and Field families are a part of the founding members of St. Philip's.
So there's a family picture of the original members somewhere here in the church. I don't know where it is, but they're all in it, and very sentimental picture that I like to look at times. And so that's where we were there from the beginning, you know, and I'm still proud to be a member, rooted that far back.
Yeah. Because of my aunt and uncle, Uncle Daniel, and they used to live on Marston, which would be 1 or 2 blocks in back of the church. And he and his wife were coming here to St. Philip's, not this building, but the old building. And subsequently, my oldest brother and sister, Pearl and Ames Fields, both have deceased now, they got a hold of some friends in the neighborhood, and they were coming to St. Philip's. That's what brought them here, and then that brought all of the family here. My mother and father wasn't even coming here at that time. September 15th, 1985. I'd been in all of the various offices in the church already, especially financial secretary. Trustee, right. I was on the board of trustees for the longest. And at some point in time there, they had, maybe they had been sizing me up. I don't know how to say it, but anyway, he just approached me and wanted me to think about it.
What is your fondest memories of St. Philip's?
Going way back as a little girl, coming here for Easter, you know, and the excitement of getting ready, you know, a new dress and a new coat, and Mama or my grandma would sew our clothes, and, you know, and then we'd sit toward the back, always on that side, and we'd have candy. They'd give us candy or something to keep us quiet, and I don't know, and it became a habit, I think, more than anything, being here. I didn't really know my peers because I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and we all had to come. And then after a while, because my mom worked and she worked afternoons, we used to rush, you know, get here, and then as soon as it was safe to leave, we were out of here because Mom always worked on a Sunday. The connection came as I got older and I moved away. I joined the the Air Force, and then I came back, and when I came back, I wanted to come here.
Well, I was part of Sunday school, and the Sunday school met in Fellowship Hall, right by where the old stage was. Mr. Gully was the superintendent of the Sunday school. He and his wife were very active in the Sunday school. And he found out that I played the piano, because I think I played every piano that was in the Fellowship Hall. We had an organ in one of the corners. I would always play that. And then Mr. Gully asked me if I would play for the Sunday school. And I was about 10 years old. And I did do that. I was glad to do that. Mrs. Marshall, who was our choir director, and she was the organist for the school, she asked me if I would begin playing the organ. And she started me first with playing one hymn, and then playing some of the liturgy, then playing for communion. And after about a year, I was playing, alternating with Mrs. Marshall, playing the whole services. And that was I was about 12 or 13 years old when I was also added the organ.
Is that correct?
There was a time when we were all here. Alvin Ramsey, who is still here, he's my oldest living uncle. He's 97 now. He's an elder here at St. Phillip. So once Ollie Mae and Adele came, then Alvin came, Alvin Ramsey, then Archie Ramsey, and then my mother, Susanna Ramsey Dumas Gray. So it was 5 of them, all here, members of St. Phillip, and all of the children, and eventually grandchildren. And every time we went back to Alabama, which was where we were born, we'd bring up another cousin or somebody who wanted to come up north to, go. The automobile company was paying good money and benefits compared to, work in the fields in Alabama. So there were quite a few of the Ramsey clan here at St. Phillip.
Sunday school and any outer picnics that they had, that kind of stuff. It would be in the basement or outside. But I can meet most of the going on here when I was that young was inside. I was baptized and confirmed. Baptized and confirmed, yeah. Mm-hmm. Ames and I remember being here every Sunday and enjoying the Sunday school, my brother and I both. And we wanted to come here, so our father and mother had to look into it. And then they came. They came to be members also.
How about that?
Legacy of Grace, Journey of St. Philip's Evangelical Lutheran Church in Detroit mini movie. This and other videos will be released on the St. Philip's media channel at St. Philip's Lutheran Plus Detroit. You can check it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Be blessed.